Ever since coming back from Afghanistan, things haven't been the same. What the hell's going on with me? I need out of this place. I don't know how to get out of this place. Everyone's left me. My family's abandoned me. I'm all alone. Alcohol's like the only thing that takes away the pain. I need help.
Hi, my name's Elen. I'm a counselor. I can help you. Originally labeled shell shock during World War I, this disorder was thought to be the result of the soldiers' close proximity to artillery fire. As the phenomenon was discovered in military personnel who were not in the trenches or exposed to artillery barrages, it was defined in the original DSM as gross stress reaction. World War II marked the beginning of the military taking into account the psychological well-being of their soldiers. Measures were made to exclude those who were psychologically unfit for war, and a program, the Salmon Project, was put in place to help soldiers deal with psychological distress. Due to the success of the Salmon Project, gross stress reaction was not detected in the first years of the Vietnam War. It was subsequently dropped from the DSM-2. Although it had been omitted, soldiers returning from the Vietnam War began reporting symptoms from the old diagnosis of gross stress reaction. It wasn't until 1977 that the APA recognized the experiences of veterans as a mental disorder and included PTSD in the DSM-3.
If you're a returning combat veteran having difficulty readjusting to civilian life, you may be wondering what's going on. Why am I so angry all the time? Why am I feeling so detached? What's going on with me? Having symptoms after a traumatic event is not a sign of personal weakness. Many well-adjusted and physically healthy soldiers develop PTSD. In fact, it's likely that everyone would develop PTSD if they were exposed to severe enough trauma. When a person understands traumatic symptoms better, he or she becomes less fearful of them and better able to manage them.
So let's take a moment to look at some of the symptoms or signs of combat-related PTSD. Some of the symptoms are flashbacks. That's feeling as if you're back in the combat zone, even while you're awake, or nightmares. It's feeling anxious. It's avoiding common places or places that might make you think about your combat experience. It's shutting down emotionally, but at the same time also having outbursts of anger. It's hyperarousal. It's having difficulty sleeping and never feeling like you can wind down, not being able to relax. Panic attacks. It's strange sensations and feeling like you're shutting down emotionally and distancing yourself from other people.
And finally, you should be aware that your environment can produce triggers that can set you off. Triggers can include any number of the following things. They can be movies or television shows. Even if they're unreal, the subject or the environment may cause thoughts to trigger you. They could be sounds, like a helicopter, or unexpected loud noises, smells, smoke, or rain. It could be a situation, being in a crowded space, or walking across even open spaces, feeling vulnerable and you're not in control. Your environment can produce triggers that you need to be aware of.
There is help. Royal Ottawa Hospital treats patients with PTSD. There is also Veteran Affairs Canada that has a crisis line and helps do referrals. Operation Stress Injury Society Social Support also has an organization that offers peer support. People suffering from PTSD and those suffering with PTSD can reach out to these resources and facilities to get the help that they need.
So you're probably wondering why I'm standing in front of Parliament. One of the things that's actually been quite important in the parliamentary discussions and debates is actually the issue of PTSD. In the March 5th, 2012 parliamentary hearings, Robert Chisholm, who's the MP of Dartmouth, Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, said, "We have heard the government say that there are fewer veterans, that they are dying off. In fact, there are more veterans. The veterans are continuing. The government may remember that it dedicated men and women to fight in Afghanistan. Recently, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Peter Delvin, stated before a Senate Committee on National Defense that there are over 40,000 Canadian veterans that were deployed to Afghanistan. 30% of those veterans are receiving some kind of mental health aid. 8% of those were diagnosed with PTSD. Both the parliamentary hearings and debates and Veteran Affairs Canada recognize that homelessness is also an issue among veterans. In Toronto alone, there is an estimated 16% of homeless veterans. Though other stats are sparse for other parts of Canada due to the transient nature of homelessness, it is safe to correlate that PTSD has some part in this issue.
It is important to remember that since trauma symptoms are very specific, not all types of therapy are appropriate. The research shows that CBT is the most effective type of counseling for PTSD. In cognitive therapy, your therapist helps you understand and change how you think about your trauma. Your goal is to understand how certain thoughts about your trauma cause you stress and make your symptoms worse. Exposure therapy helps people face and control their fears. It exposes them to the trauma they experienced in a safe way. Cognitive reconstructing helps people make sense of the bad memories. Many of them help the survivor to develop new coping skills related to their symptoms. This can also involve relaxation and mindfulness techniques and psychoeducation about symptoms that can be very validating for the survivor.